All right, so today we're going to get into the history, the culture, the soul of one of the most powerful movements of the last century, hip-hop. Now, when I say hip-hop, what comes to mind? You probably think you've got it figured out, right? You hear it on the radio, you see it in the movies, but let me tell you, the real story is so much bigger, so much deeper than just a genre of music. Look, you have to understand, at its heart, hip-hop is a full-blown cultural movement. It's a language, an art form, a way of life that grew out of a really specific time and place, a way to express both incredible hardship and pure, unfiltered joy. So where did this all kick off? Well, for that, we've got to travel back in time, back to New York City in the 1970s. All right, so picture this, the South Bronx. It's the 1970s, and things are tough. Really tough. I mean, this place was hit hard. You had the Cross Bronx Expressway just tearing through neighborhoods, pushing people out. Businesses were leaving in droves. And believe it or not, some landlords were literally burning down their own buildings for the insurance money. The city had pretty much written it off. But here's the incredible part. Right in the middle of all that chaos, all that neglect, something new started to grow. The young Black and Latino kids there, they invented their own world, a way to create, a way to be seen, a way to be heard. And if you want to get really specific, a lot of people point to one single day, August 11th, 1973. It was a back-to-school party in the rec room of an apartment building, 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. And this is where a DJ, a guy known as Kool Herc, decided to try something brand new. Now, everyone knows DJ Kool Herc, right? He's called the father of hip-hop, and for good reason. But the person who actually made that legendary party happen, that was his sister, Cindy Campbell. I mean, think about it. She was the one with the vision. She organized the whole thing, got the word out. She literally created the space for this culture to even begin. She was the very first hip-hop promoter. Just incredible. Okay, so what was actually happening at these parties? It wasn't just about the music. It was a whole culture built on four, let's call them foundational pillars. DJing, MCing, breakdancing, and graffiti. You've got to have all four. Each one is its own art form, its own skill, but together, that's hip-hop. All right, let's break these down, starting with the DJ, the architect of the whole sound. So DJ Kool Herc, he noticed something really smart. He saw that the dancers on the floor went absolutely nuts for the instrumental parts of funk and soul records. You know, the breaks. So he thought, what if I just play that part? He got two turntables, found the same record, and just looped the breakbeats over and over again. That continuous, high-energy beat, that was the foundation for everything. And then you get one of the most iconic sounds in all of music. And it was a total accident. The story goes, a young DJ, Grand Wizard Theodore, is in his room practicing. His mom calls him, and he just puts his hand on the record to stop it, and it makes that famous scratching sound, a complete fluke that changed music history. So you've got this amazing beat going for a long time. Someone's got to talk over it, right? Enter the MC, the master of ceremonies. At first, their job was simple. Just hype up the crowd, say ho. But then they started getting more creative, adding rhymes and rhythm, pulling from traditions like Jamaican toasting. And that, my friends, is how rapping was born. Okay, so you have this relentless beat. You can't just stand still, right? The music was literally begging for a new style of dance. So during those breakbeats that Herc was looping, the dancers, the b-boys and b-girls as he called them, would hit the floor and show off their craziest, most athletic moves. It turned dancing into a straight-up competition. And then you've got the visual side of things, graffiti. Now there's some debate among the pioneers about how directly it was connected to the parties at first, but it quickly became the look, the aesthetic of hip-hop. It started with kids just tagging their names on subway cars, a way to get famous, to have your name travel all over the city. But that evolved into these huge, colorful, complex masterpieces. It was art, plain and simple, born on the streets. It's crazy to think this all started in just one neighborhood, right? A super local thing in the Bronx. So how on earth did it go from that to, well, everywhere?
I mean, just look at this timeline. The growth was just insane. In '79, you get Rapper's Delight, which takes that party sound from the Bronx and puts it on the radio for the first time. Bam! A commercial hit. Just 2 years later, you have Sha-Rock and the Funky 4+1 on Saturday Night Live, national television. And by the '90s, forget about it. Hip-hop was a global phenomenon.
And again, here is another piece of the story that so often gets overlooked. That first massive hit, Rapper's Delight, the person who made it happen was a woman named Sylvia Robinson.
She heard what was going on in the clubs, saw the potential, and had the genius idea to put it on a record. She started Sugar Hill Records and produced the song that basically introduced hip-hop to the entire planet. As hip-hop got bigger and bigger, this tension started to build, one that's honestly still around today. You kind of have two main camps. On one side, there's what you might call conscious or alternative hip-hop. It's really focused on storytelling, social issues, and pure artistry. And then on the other side, you have mainstream commercial rap, which became this incredibly profitable product, often with themes that were, well, let's just say more focused on consumerism and violence. Because hip-hop was born out of this need to have a voice, this need to protest, a lot of people argue there's actually a fifth element, activism. They see it as a powerful tool for social change, a way for people to speak out and organize against injustice, whether it's about policing or fighting for better schools. So that brings us pretty much up to today. Hip-hop is, without a doubt, the most dominant youth culture in the world. But getting here, well, it hasn't always been a smooth ride. Yeah, as it morphed into this massive, multi-billion-dollar industry, some really tough conversations started happening. You hear debates all the time about commercialization, about whether it's lost its authentic roots. And of course, there are serious criticisms about misogyny in lyrics and videos, the glorification of violence in some subgenres, and the super tricky issue of cultural appropriation as it's spread across the globe. These are the debates that are still shaping the culture. So when you boil it all down, maybe the biggest takeaway is this. Hip-hop was never just one thing. It's not static. It's a living, breathing culture that's always evolving, always sparking arguments, and always inspiring people. To think that it went from a rec room in the Bronx to literally every corner of the planet, it's just an incredible story about the power of art to create something beautiful out of nothing. And that just leaves us with one big question, right? After more than 50 years, what's next?